The Sporting Chance podcast is brought to you by Mountain State Falconry. Hit up mountainstatefalconrysupply.com for all of your falconry gear that you needed yesterday. And tell Heather that the Sporting Chance sent you.
And also, this podcast is brought to you by Midnight Falconry, makers of the tightest braided equipment on the market. Visit them at midnightfalconry.com.
And also, ajourneywithredtails.com. Check out the new book by author Bob Glass, A Journey with Red Tails. Bob is an accomplished falconer, having successfully flown many species over many years. He is an authority on the subject. We can't recommend the book highly enough, A Journey with Red Tails by Bob Glass.
And last but not least, shout out to our boy, Seth Roy at North Mountain Goshawks for the finest, exquisite hunting partners money can buy. Visit him at northmountaingoshawks.com.
All right, check it out, guys. One more thing. This podcasting shit is expensive. Absolutely expensive. I'm in financial ruin. Casey, how is your finances?
They are dwindling because of this endeavor. That is for sure.
Our only hope at not being foreclosed and acting out alone by necessity with our Goshawks is if you go to sportingchancepod.com and buy a t-shirt. We're begging you. All that is holy. Buy a shirt. Our lives depend on it. Adam, welcome to the Sporting Chance podcast. It's good to have you on, man.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. What are you drinking there, bud?
Got some Woodford Reserve Double Oak tonight.
I don't know anything about bourbon. I know Buffalo Trace is good.
Yeah, it seemed to become a fad pretty quick. I've noticed over the past couple years, but
you can't even buy it here. Good luck. Go to the liquor store; it's sold out. And they say it's
hard to get.
Gone. Yeah, it's gone.
I guess I
just
live right above the state that it's cultured from. Kentucky, but every state's claimed to make a bourbon. Right. Here in the Midwest, I mean, I think there was even an Ohio bourbon. It's just, it's Ohio not the real bourbon? Deal. It's fake.
It's like corn bourbon.
yeah. I mean,
what's the difference between bourbon and whiskey?
So bourbon, you would make me look like an idiot on here right out of the bat. But so bourbon is derived from the state of Kentucky, right? Now, my understanding is I haven't been on the bourbon trail or anything like that, but which you can go to in Kentucky. But I guess it's the way that the hills and the mountains in that part of Kentucky where the origin of bourbon comes from, it does something else to their whiskey that they have termed bourbon.
Okay.
So it's a very specific region of whiskey. And look, I just like the stuff. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There's a lot more people. Whiskeys that I don't care for.
That's not what bourbon is.
Yeah, I know. I can hear it. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I only ask because a lot of people I know drink whiskey, and if I just smell whiskey, I want to gag because I drank.
I used to be that way, man.
Too much of it. I drank too much.
I was that way with gin up until just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, gin's my drink.
Got sick in college on gin. When you get sick on something,
you
just don't forget it. You'll never drink it again, right?
Yeah.
Well, I gave it a pass.
Like gagging
about
right
20 years ago. I gave it a pass and I tried it again. I tried a gin and tonic, and it wasn't bad. It was more refreshing than anything. Couldn't really taste the alcohol in it. I get the appeal, but I think I'm over that whole gin hill now. But got something to look forward to.
Yeah, gin and tonic's my drink when I go to a restaurant. Right. Gin and tonic is secondary to a Moscow Mule. But a lot of these places are not.
I do like Moscow Mules, man.
Yeah. I can't go wrong with a Moscow Mule. I'm that way. Speaking of getting sick, of Patron. I back in my day used to go to the club and started off with 5 shots each, get a little lit.
Oh my god,
dude!
You struck me as a club guy, man.
I used to be. You strike me as a club guy with those beads on, those bracelets.
All those beads?
Yeah.
Man, so I've got a girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Her daughter.
I can tell by the apartment, by the way.
Yeah.
The trees, the beautiful
trees. This is all my doing, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
this
all
guy
my
is
doing, man.
Oh, this guy's
I live here alone.
Oh, that's all right. All right. I misjudged you. That's
check it out.
Whoa.
So what we're looking at is we're looking at essentially an indoor greenhouse with beautiful furniture. Everything's white and clean and neat.
Yeah, I know, man.
I really figured that there'd be a woman that.
Check this out. Hold on.
That's good, man.
Hold on.
Casey, what would your place look like if it was just you?
Yeah,
it was me for like
camera. Yeah, I got.
It was me.
Started on this plant thing, man. Right.
Whoa. What are we growing?
Did have a kestrel back there.
I like the perch.
An array of different things going back on over here, but yeah, this is like my sick room where I put all of them. To start turning colors.
Are we growing anything back there? Anything interesting?
No, man. No. Here in the state of Indiana, we're very limited to what we can grow.
Hey, you want to hear something interesting? I was literally behind a DPW station in my town.
What's DPW?
Department of Public Works.
Okay.
And I was back there chasing rabbits. I look over the fence. There is about 4,000 marijuana plants over the fence.
In the DPW station?
Yeah, they have like a subsection. I don't know if it's leased out or something. There's a greenhouse back there. They just built it. It's all brand new with like filters and stuff. There's like 400 marijuana plants sitting out behind the fence.
Why?
I guess it's illegal.
No idea.
State. Yeah,
I guess it is. I think it's legal here. That's what I think is going on.
Oh, yeah. I think Indiana's the only state.
So the DPW employees were just
no. It's like a commercial. It's like a commercial operation. It might be part of it might be like leased out by like a pharmaceutical company or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on back.
I think my state, North Carolina, will be the last place to ever legalize it.
Yeah, I don't see the problem with weed. I think alcohol is just as like if you can make alcohol legal, then weed should be legal because it's pretty much very similar. It's not really much different.
So enough of the wacky tobacco talk. Adam is a falconer and an angler.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say, Adam?
An angler. Yeah, I guess we do angle it up. Yeah. Yeah.
So you were telling me an interesting story earlier about fishing for flathead cats.
You're right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it's not something I readily admit to, fishing for flathead or catfish, right? Because it has such a stigma involved in it. Typically, that's our, Miller Lite drinking, papaw skull chewing, type of.
It's a working man's fish.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's a working man's fish for sure. But man, I've discovered, and so first of all, we're really limited here in Southern Indiana what our game fish is. It's either bass, or bass, right? And
right.
I don't know, man. I fished bass for pretty much my entire life up until maybe 15, 16 years ago. I just got bored of it. I was like, man, there's going to be something else in here. And bass are cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just the same repetitiveness. I'm like that Jeremy Wade, right? Just after all these. Yeah, man. You got to get them big boys, right? Of an array of different species, right? It just gets so burnt out. Well, so we've got something big here. It's called flathead, right? Highly predatorial, and they're smart. They are, and they're skittish. So you got to be super sneaky, unless you're fishing in running water like raging river or something. You can be a lot more careless. But where I live in Bloomington, Indiana, on Lake Monroe, and it's a big lake. But the biggest fish in this lake is going to be a flathead. So by nature, and I've lived on this lake for I don't know, 15 years or so. So yeah, by nature, I'm going to go for the biggest and all that. And then I really dialed in on them because I discovered they were really hard to catch, right? Especially in still water. Because you can catch these channel cats all night long, right? But you don't want that. So to really dial it in, you got to learn some stuff, right? Those old country monkeys that I was, talking about. You get to be friends with them, because those are the guys with the boats. Those are the guys with the knowledge. They got catfish tattoos and skull tattoos, and
that'd be sick, man. Catfish tattoo. That'd be cool.
But like on the side of their face, right? And so yeah, man, you talk to them and they take you out. Man, guys, I gotta say, actually, the guy that I have in my head right now, man, he was an employee of mine, and I look at construction company here in Bloomington, and he just passed away. We just buried him today, so it's.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, I know that's just way off the chart of it, but yeah, I can't say I'm thinking about it. But that's the guy that I'm mostly talking about. He taught me a lot, but here in Stillwater, this time of year in the fall, October, sometimes even a little in August, when I was telling Aaron, when the temps start to change, right? Those fish instinctively want to winterize and put on that fat, put on that weight, because everything slows down. Their metabolism slows down, their behavior slows down. And what they do is they go right to the food source, man. They go right to the fridge. They start hitting those shorelines, really shallow shorelines. And you can see sometimes their back or their dorsal fin coming out of water like a shark. What they're doing is they're hunting bluegill or bait fish, and that's where they all go. Once that sun drops, they'll go to the bank, somewhat for coverage, right? They get out of predator territory and they all go to the bank. And some of those bait fish are there because they like the cooler. They're closer to the air. Their air temps, the water temp's going to be a little bit cooler there. But yeah, man. So I found one, and they're really skittish of light, noise, vibration, anything like that. Which is why I like to fish, right? Because you got to be sneaky, and you can use that moonlight, that ambient light, without any headlamps or artificial light, because you're going to scare the fish. You just wait and sit for a spot, usually on a kayak, or even if you're walking on the bank, every once in a while you'll see one of those, right? Dorsal fins coming out of the water, moving, it's hunting, right? So I see one of these one night in my yak, and, mental note, I look at the watch, it's about 1 o'clock, 1:30. So I'm going to be back here well prepared. For this fish. It was a big fish, right? So I come back, I return that night, I bring a buddy. We anchor in well before the time that I saw it, a few hours, right? And I'm probably, my target from that bank is maybe 20 feet. And we're just casting, sort of wasting time, waiting for that moment, but we want to try to hang it up before then because we don't know what time she actually gets in there to start hunting. But this is my first time doing this, and I see her. It was like an hour and a half before the time that I saw her the night before, and I had a preloaded hole with a bluegill on it. That's what typically they want to eat.
Live bait?
Yeah, live bait. Yep, that's what they're hunting. So, you want to give them what they're after. I just threw that gill. It actually hits her in the back, and I thought I made a big mistake. Thought I spooked the fish, but yeah, she swings right around. All that drama and explosiveness in the water. That's actually an attractant, I learned. So she turned around and hammered it, and that was my biggest Stillwater flathead. I got a 63 pounder in the river, moving water, but this one was 61. And
oh my God, that's a huge fish.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, they're a lot of fun. I mean, just imagine, pulling in something 60 pounds basically in your backyard, right? So then I started getting really fixated on flathead for a long time. And like I said, I referring to yourself as a cat fisherman is, I don't know. Those that do that are just, it's like, man, that's weak, right? It's like, what up, bass, bro? Or like something, where you guys live, you got everything. But I guess that's how I got fixated on flathead specifically. But we do have planted walleye here. I love fishing walleye here. But typically I got to outsource for all my fish.
How are you fishing your walleye?
So they'll come. I usually hit them hard in the spring when they go into pre-spawn. Here in southern Indiana, man, they act differently than what they would in northern Michigan or so forth. So yeah, this is a regionally specific thing. So our walleye here, they come up from the White River here at our dam, which is Lake Monroe, right? It's a big reservoir. Some of them come through the reservoir, some of them come up. Either way, I don't care where they come from. I'm after those pre-spawn hens, right? They're big, fat. They got a lot of weight on them. I saw my buddy, he caught one down at the spillway. You could literally stick a 2-liter soda bottle in its mouth, right?
Jeez.
And yeah, it's a big fish, right? And yeah, I had to start fixating on those. It's easy, accessible. The fishing's not easy, but you just got to put in your time, just like anything else, But
yeah,
it's fun. It is. It's a lot of fun, but I do get bored of it being landlocked here. I got to outsource to the Great Lakes or, ocean salt.
You just returned from a fishing trip. What were you fishing for?
Steelhead. Yeah. Yeah. Ultimately, I got to say that's probably my favorite fish. Probably one of my favorite eating fish.
I'm looking up steelhead now. I know the name, but
isn't that king salmon basically, or no?
No, so you probably have an association. They run basically the same time. Typically, those steelhead come in after the kings because what those kings are doing, they're going into tributaries out of big water, and they're spawning. Right when they spawn, they're laying the eggs. Their whole reproductive cycle and all that stuff. And so steelhead, a couple weeks after, they start really packing in after spawn because they're all after those eggs, right? They, I guess, dial in the source of where these eggs are coming from, and they just start navigating their ways upwards to spawning sites, near spawning sites, looking for salmon eggs. And that's the theory behind why they run in the winter.
Got it.
Here in the Midwest. Yeah, also a planted fish, non-native,
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Are they in the Great Lakes?
Yeah, they're in the Great Lakes. Yeah,
so they were introduced
kings,
there.
Yep, same with the kings, man. I guess in the history of king salmon, which are massive, ugly, violent fish, right? I mean, they've got teeth.
Those are the ones with like the crazy jaws, right?
I mean, so it all depends. The fish species, I mean, salmon, they change, right? Once they start to migrate for spawn, getting out of big water, whether it's running or not, they generally go to where they were born, right? Where they were spawned from. So typically the life, I think the average of kings, I think it's 3 to 4 years. So if it's a 3 to 4 year old fish after it's stocked or hatched or whatever, they go back out to the Great Lakes, they swim circles or whatever they do. And then their biology tells them, hey man, it's time, right? They don't know, right, what's going on, but I don't know. Maybe they do, but they go right
time
back
to die,
to
boys. Let's go.
Yeah, they go right back to where they were born and do the same cycle that their parents did, right? 3-4 years prior to that. And,
it's really amazing.
It's wild. Yeah,
Yeah.
they could navigate their ways right back there. But yeah, you see places in Michigan, man, where it's like shoulder to shoulder. It's combative.
Yeah.
I've seen people thrown in the water. My first time at this one area, I saw this probably 19, 20-year-old kid get his teeth knocked out by like a 70-year-old local, right? Literally, he gets up from the water holding his face and he's just leaking, man, right? And it's like, oh, there's a hole in your head. But yeah, apparently this guy's, I don't know, this local tweaker or whatever, man. He robbed the wrong vehicle
free
up
food
in the
out
parking
there.
lot. Yeah, well, no, he stole his gear out of the back of his truck, and then the guy goes down looking for his gear, and he finds some 19-year-old, 20, I don't know, something, using his gear fishing with it.
Yeah.
And it was a very little exchange before the guy hits the water, and I got his teeth knocked out. And I was like, man, this place is my kind of spot, man. Where it's at. Yeah. No, it's definitely not romantic or anything. But yeah, everyone's after those kings this time of year, and especially September. But yeah, I'm more steelhead oriented. So I usually wait until after the salmon run, and then I go up and start crushing some steelhead. But yeah, I got some good fish this last weekend. Yeah, it's a good time.
You said something interesting about why you started fishing for salmon.
Oh, dude, I forgot. I don't know.
You've been drinking too much.
Yeah, no.
Dog food.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No. So I had a dog, Kaiser, man. He's a chocolate lab. And he just started getting all this weird stuff happening to him. These weird growths. It's that, labs are notorious for having their, little growth areas, their tumors. But so I started feeding raw, and yeah, it did. I did actually notice a changeable difference. I started going to Michigan all the time. Once I got him to accept raw, that was a feed all of its own. I think he was 11 at the time when I transitioned him from conventional dog food to raw. But yeah, it just, there's a new kind of twinkle there. I'm no veterinarian or anything, but yeah, his quality of life, his health definitely improved for sure. 100, no doubt about it. I started doing it every single year, bringing coolers and coolers and coolers. So it was just my excuse to get the hell out of Indiana. Right. And I got to go catch dog food. Nice. But, ultimately that's what I did. So, it just became something I did every year. Yeah. I go up, 15, 20 times, maybe sometimes in the fall. Like I've been up 5 so far. I'm getting ready to leave on the 17th. Yeah, I'm going to go back up on the 17th. It just gets better and better with the steelhead, the colder it gets. But I got a tap out point, man. Usually around mid-November, it's just too cold up in northern Michigan to fish. You see these old men out there, dude, barely, they got a Carhartt on and a blizzard. It's just standing out there in the freaking cold ass water, just throwing and just killing bare hands. And
jeez, yeah.
Yeah, man, it's just, nope, not me. I can't do it. I tap out. So I come home and then I start flying my birds. It's typically around first, second week in November is when I give it up, start to fly. Yeah. So Casey, you a falconer? Or?
Yeah.
Are you? Cool.
Yeah.
He's a little bit of one.
Yeah. I dabble in falconry a little bit.
Yeah. What are you dabbling with this season?
Flying 2 goshawks this season.
Okay. Well, you're doing more than dabbling, man. 2 gosses. That's short.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I got an intermewed North American. She slayed last year, and then I got a new 3/4 albitus, 1/4 fin.
That's what I have.
Yeah.
Where'd you get it?
I think his name was Brian out in Cali.
Oh, I got mine from Keith Hicks, Southern Indiana. I think
I've flown many a Keith Hicks bird. They are excellent.
Yeah. Mine is currently pissed at me.
They're all pissed. Don't worry about it. It's like my wife.
Big hand.
It's all good.
How big is your bird? What's your bird?
This one, okay. So I've flown Hicks birds. They're
male or female? What you have?
I currently have a female. I flew two birds from Hicks, females also. The first one I got from Hicks, she flew at 13. She was a big girl. The one I currently have now is 3/4 Albitus.
What's 13? So different regions, we got different.
No, it's all grams, bro. If you're not using grams, it's come on.
Nah, man.
Grams. Let's get with the program. Grams.
You do that, bro. You just got to read your bird, man. I was talking to Aaron, man. I very rarely, I used to fly great horns. I still do. I've got a couple out in the aviaries now, but yeah, I never weighed my great horn ever. I never weighed him. It's very, very seldom I'd weigh him. I could just tell he's going to go or he's going to be a pain in the butt. But yeah, same with Gosses, man. You can kind of read them, right? When they're a little bit.
Yeah. I know if it's going to be a shit show or not, basically. But I always put them on the scale to just monitor what we're doing.
So what's 13? Like what unit of measurement is 13? 1,300
grams.
1,300 grams. Sorry. Yeah, gotcha. Sorry.
No, you're good.
The one I'm flying now, to answer your question, I'm sorry. To answer your question, the one I'm flying now, she's hovering around. Tonight she was 1165. She didn't do too good. I had a couple extra people in the field. She chased. She did fine. She was just.
Oh, you went out today?
Yeah, I'm still dirty from the field. I gotta get in the shower. Nice. Yeah. I was just in the field. Yeah. So they're awesome. So you're flying a Hicks bird female?
Yeah, hen, man, she's great. I haven't flown her yet. Right? Do you guys hack? Were you all from or?
Well, okay. I don't know if Aaron doesn't. Aaron, did you do a hack with your imprint that you flew?
I did not, but the next imprint I get, I will hack it.
I love hacking.
So you weren't a believer, now you are. Yeah, for sure, man. So it stimulates muscle growth. It stimulates mental growth, right? It's everything. You have all these pluses, but you got one really bad downside, right? You're throwing. I don't know what the odds are. I mean, obviously, no one's ever taken that. Yeah, they're low. Dude, I gotta tell you, man, I did lose a tame hack bird for 3 days once, and I got him back. He actually recognized, dude, and he was about 1.5 miles away from my house, my cabin at the time, 2.5 miles up the road here. I made a post about it. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen, man. Drive a Tundra with dual exhaust. It's kind of loud, right? Super you know, like when your parents pulled up in the driveway, you know that was your dad's truck or your mom's car, right? You tell a difference.
Close the browser windows real quick.
yeah. But he's associated. My bird Doug at the time had recognized the sound of my truck. Like I say, it's about 1.5 miles, somewhere in between there. And dude, I look over to my right. I'm almost at my house. I look over to my right. I'm driving. I'm like 35 miles an hour. I see my bird right there, shotgun window, like flying right beside me as I'm driving.
Wow.
Yeah, I hadn't seen him in 3 days, man. Yep. I had taken off work. I was looking everywhere. I was literally just coming home from looking in the area behind me. But yeah, got him back. But he was just so over it, it happens. It happens. It does. And I know another guy that tame hacked and lost one on some jumper cables on a electric box. But yeah, very slim, man.
I lost one that way.
I vote yes. Oh, you did? Yeah, it sucks, man. Yeah,
I lost a great bird same way too. It wasn't a goshawk, but
yeah. So then it really didn't hurt that bad, then, right?
It was pretty bad.
Just kidding. I'm just joking.
Man, losing a bird is the worst thing. And that's what every falconer ever experiences, right? I mean, there's so many ups and downs in falconry that people talk about. But I heard somebody's quote that they took from somebody. They said, there's very rarely there's any happy endings in falconry, right? And I reviewed my mental videotapes just subconsciously after that, and I'm like, man, yeah, you're right, dude. It's pretty hardcore. Like, we get shit on every time. It's guaranteed. It's just you're gonna have some heartbreak. You invest all this time and work and money and labor, sweat and blood, and it gets bit by a freaking mosquito, right? Dead, West Nile. It's just, yeah, I don't know. There's been so many times I've just like, what the hell am I doing? But I keep, I've been a falconer 15 years, and I think this is year 15. But yeah, man, we keep hopping back on that horse, and we learn and learn. That's right. And just like, all right, we don't have to ID. It's just a natural behavior now. Second, it's all secondary. You don't even have to look for power poles or anything anymore. It's just automatic no, right? But then you'll fly, a micro, and a freaking a coop comes in and swipes them up. It's just, that just happened to me about I don't know, 7 weeks ago. Yeah, but yeah, man, lost my micro. Yeah, I lost my kestrel, and but right back on the horse we go.
Sucks, man. Sorry about that.
What was the situation, if you don't mind?
Man, I'm almost ashamed to admit it. I've always been told. So that's about the time when we first started experiencing our first cooler nights, right? Which across the street, I've got horses. I've got stables and stuff that my neighbors rent out. They're big horse people. With that being said, lots of starlings come in. I noticed this huge starling population starting to come in now that we started getting cooler nights. And went in our barn, spooked out the starlings, waited for them to come in, right? Because they will come right back in, and within an hour or so. This is right before roost. I knew damn well I've got at least 2 coops out here somewhere that make an appearance every once in a while, and this was his first slip. My male kestrel was first slip of the year, and let him go on a starling going in. It's on a rafter. Let it go, and he misses. He goes down on the ground. I'm outside of the barn. I call him out, like, right, I've always been told, never call your bird back, right? Your kestrel or micro from a car or whatever, you go and recover it, right? Just so you can eliminate the Cooper's hog element. And I did that, and there was a coop right to my left I didn't see, and caught the last seconds of it launching off of the bare pole across the way, watching the starlings come in. He was watching too, and I can grab my kestrel and off we go. But I can't tell you how many times I know that story probably 5-6 times over from other falconers. They call their birds back. But yeah, I guess that they're disarmed. Their eyes are on you. They're coming to you. They're not situationally aware. Snatch, grab it, you're out. But yeah.
Yeah, I've never flown a micro, but that makes a lot of sense. You don't call it back to you. Just go pick it up.
Yeah, it's heard, I think we mentioned, what's his name? New Mexico, Sladen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that I originally had no desire to fly a kestrel. And that dude, man, he's always online. His online presence is like crazy strong. But I forget what his bird's name was, but yeah, I just saw that success that he had. I was like, man, that looks fun. Doing the whole car hawking thing, Never really did that before. I've tried car hawking with so many different species now. It's nuts. Yeah, some just won't do it, man. Yeah, great horns for one, they will not do that. But they won't.
Yeah.
They'll just fly to a building and they don't trust you. Something weird just happened, and I'm sure you can plant that in their subconscious somewhere, like during raising. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah.
So I kind of want to, Aaron. That's good. That's good advice. The only micros I've flown are Merlins, and we're usually out. We're usually out and about in the field, so that's not really, we're always out there making noise and stuff. So it's a little different, maybe, kind of, right? It's a little different of a setup. But that's pretty interesting. Don't call your bird bad. It's interesting. I never heard that before.
Yeah. Casey, before, because I know what question you're going to
You could feel it coming, couldn't you? You could feel it coming.
Dude, I honestly did, man. Hey, I knew I was. I really did. That's why I actually saw the last seconds after the leap. I'm looking around. I'm like, man, it's got my bird back. Yeah, coming to me and grab, snatch, out of here.
God.
Yeah, actually, flew towards my house. Yep, man.
There's an education center in South Carolina, and one of the ladies there was telling me they were doing a show in front of 50 people, and they're flying a kestrel and a Cooper's Hawk snatched it in front of about 50 kids and flew away with it.
Right, I was like, they're just playing. They're just playing.
Yeah. The kestrel was screaming while I was carrying it away.
Yeah. No, they're playing rough. Those bad people. Bad kids.
Yeah. I don't have the heart.
Man,
for
those coops, man.
I like Cooper's Hawks. That's why.
Yeah,
that's why I like them. They're such savages, such brutal little birds.
Because you haven't flown a micro.
They are, man.
Yeah. No, if I fly a micro, it's just going to be an accipiter. So
yeah, good point. Yeah, just go around it.
Adam, I wanted to ask you how you got into falconry. You said you've been doing it.
You just stole my question right out from under.
Oh, really? I thought you were going to go somewhere else. Casey, why don't you go? No, Casey, ask your question. I'm sorry,
Adam. So can you tell us, how did you get involved in falconry?
I can, man. Yeah. Weird situation, man. I always said everything good that has came to my life has ultimately came from fishing, believe it or not, right? So one night I was fishing for flathead, and I was driving through the woods. Actually, I was trespassing big time, going through a farmer's field that we were supposed to shortcut to the river bottoms, and got to traverse through the woods a little bit, and I found a red-tailed hawk just chilling on a tree stump. This was, I don't know, 20 years ago, right? And it was just sitting there, right? My headlights are shining right at it. I stop, I look, and things not moving, right? I'm like, dude, I've never seen a hawk up close before. I'm going to take advantage of the situation, at least take some pics, show your girlfriend or whatever. I get out, man, and the thing falls backwards and raises his feet, in defense mode and get ready to, foot the shit out of you, even though I didn't know what footing meant. I took my shirt off. I could tell something's wrong with take my shirt off, and I throw it over it. And, well, long story short, ended up taking that bird the next morning to facility called the Indiana Raptor Center. It's our largest center in southern Indiana, rehab center. And I worked for them for years after that.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, we just connected, and I got up close and personal with the birds. That very same day, they were really authentic people. It just felt good. Like, man. Yeah, I'm missing out, dude. These guys got to figure it out. Look at this shit. They're this close to, there's peregrines, there's eagles, there's all that. I hadn't been exposed to all that yet, so I've got no skewed perspective. It's all information that I've taken from a kid. That romance behind it all. Well. So I start working for them, just a grunt worker, just cleaning mews and stuff on occasion. And they introduced me to this guy named Roger Chastain, Indiana falconer. He lives in Indianapolis, about an hour's change away from me. And they invite me out, and I go out with them, man. It changed. I knew that moment, man. I saw one of my buddies, Brian Payne, falconer. He was flying a girl named Stormy, time redtail, and it just amazed me how they can hold them on the glove and all of that. Just like anybody else, it gets involved in the allure of it all, right? And his bird ends up, smashing a rabbit. I'm like, dude, that is literally the coolest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, I had no idea. I thought when they were explaining falconry to me, I was like, man, that's weird. Like, that's weird. Like, you guys are all weirdos. I need to get out of here. Right? Like, what am I doing?
That sounds about right.
Yeah, you just think of all these, dressed up. What's the word I'm looking for?
Renaissance festival.
Renaissance, man. Yeah, I was like, damn, man. But these guys weren't like that, right? Yeah, I mean, they were cussing and all this. And I was like, oh, all right.
They're like cat fishermen.
Yeah, cat fishermen, right? Yeah. But yeah, man, I was hooked, and that's ultimately how I got on the falconry. But yeah, after becoming a falconer, and then places like that really depend on you to help them. You become more important all of a sudden. Like, you just climb the ladders as notches in your belt get stamped in. But then all of a sudden now you're in charge of training these birds, right, for release. And then you're doing all these crazy climbs where somebody's got degradation permits, and neighborhoods that got, nuisance birds, typically red shoulders, that I've learned that they love to attack kids, mailmen, stuff like that. I guess the mailman had to go away for some stitches on one call. And DNR wrote that degradation permit, like, snapped their fingers. They're like, all right, federal employee just got injured. Let's get rid of that nest, right? Ended up having to climb that one. And yeah, every time, man, you bleed. There's always people out there. Not every time, but yeah, there's always the neighbors. I've had media out there. And dude, one time I was re-nesting. I was putting them in a red tail nest. These were red shoulder chicks that I personally destroyed the nest. So these callers, they'll call in with a degradation request, and sometimes it'll get permitted, right? But they don't have anybody that knows what the hell they're doing to climb these areas or whatever to extract the chicks, right, or destroy the nest if there's chicks in it. Sometimes there's not. That's ideal, but oftentimes they'll just rebuild in the exact same spot, like really quickly, rapidly, But I had taken these chicks out of this nest. I think it was Indy someplace, and I destroyed the nest. And well, now we've got to find foster parents for these chicks because I'm not going to raise them. They're not going to raise them. The best shot they have is to put them in, find another red shoulder nest, put them in there. They always say birds can't count. They don't know, right? There's just extra burden on. So you want to pick an ideal nest, typically, hopefully with just like one chick, and then you can put 2 more chicks in. Odds are they're not all going to make it anyway, but you want to give them the best shot that you can. So I found a red tail nest. I was out of red shoulders nest. Found a red tail nest. It was way up on an ash that had been dead started dying probably several years prior. We got really bad parasites in Indiana that wiped out all of our green ash. Most of them are like 99%. This is one of those
ash
trees.
Borers.
Yeah,
Is that what they are?
Yep. You have them there too.
in the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. They suck, man. Yeah. They wiped out all of our ash. Well, this red tail side of the nest, in the specific, I don't know, maybe the nest was there beforehand for years before the tree got infected. But anyway, I get there, man. I pull up to this nest, and I report exactly. All this stuff is very regulated, right? Through state government and things. I had reported where I found the nest, what I'm going to be doing that day, and I get there and there's media there, right? I'm like, oh man, this sucks, right? Neighbors, it's in this, HOA, not multi-million-dollar homes, but they're sitting pretty good. And so all the neighbors are outside wondering why media's there, and this dude that pulls up in this lifted Tundra, right? Like
dual exhaust.
Yeah. And man, I'm immediately they're just like, hey, they introduce and they're saying, is it okay if we do this? I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. Well, dude, I made a complete ass of myself that day, right? I failed that delivery hardcore. I got probably 15 foot shy of the nest. This nest was 90 foot, right? All day.
Jeez.
Yeah. So I throw my anchor line up, right? Which was a nightmare, especially when you got PR and, you got cameras on you and people asking questions. So you're not used to that, right? You're going to make some mistakes. And I asked these guys to help me. I had a big slingshot I shot my anchor up with, right? And then you pull your main line up. And I was climbed with SRT systems, right? So, rope walker systems, things like that. Instead of spiking the tree and then going up, right? I wasn't wearing spikes.
That's like a pro tip for climbing nests is the assisted system. It's a lot safer and easier from what I hear. I've never used it.
Yeah. Man, this particular time, and you climb in different ways. You got to set redirects sometimes in order to swing from this tree like Tarzan over to this guy. And, but, all that's fun, right? But especially if you really know how to do it. I'm not that great at it, but I like to brag about, the successful times at least. Well, this was not one of those at all. Man, I set that anchor line. It was on a dead limb. I didn't know. It looked to me like it was in a crotch, right? A heavy like artery, like going up. And then my plan is to redirect from that point up. So I throw another anchor. I connected that. I connected my harness and I go up, and then I put the chicks in the nest, right? Well, I get to that anchor point, dude. I can see my carabiner, right? My carabiner.
I was like, dude, you got a spotter on the bottom. You got a belay system going on.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say something about beaner.
I just did. I asked if you had a beaner watching out for you to belay you.
Yeah. But
my wife's South American, so nobody can say anything. So F all of you.
Right. But yeah, no, man, it's open, right? It didn't lock in. So I've got my main line putting pressure up against the little digit that compresses back and forth, opens and closes, right? I got my main line on that. And I'm looking at it, and I've got like a half of an inch left, right? From all that tugging and pulling up to that point. And I got a backpack on with 2 chicks in my backpack. I look down, dude, I see all these people. They're like, you're almost there. Man, there's like 30 people down there, right?
Jeez.
Trucks coming. I have no idea I'm literally flying solo. Like I came by myself, no friends or anything. And I have no idea who any of these people are, right? They got cameras and, they're pumping you up, and you don't want to let them down, man, right? You want to be on the guy on that newscasting later that night and go, yo, I did that, right? Man, I look at that. I'm absolutely terrified. Like if I make one wrong move, that thing is going to slip. It'll open and I go right down. I'll be number 31 on the ground. All right. And got a backpack of these shit. I sat there, I started sweating to me. I started panicking, right? It's terrifying. And I'm like, dude, I'm not dying today. Ultimately, I'm not going to die today. I won't do it. I'm not going to take that risk. But you take a risk playing yourself down, right? I had a gree on, which will just, it's an ascender and descender, right? And I'm opening that thing so slow, do not put any tension on that carabiner at all. And I start my descent really slow, right? And people are like, what's the matter? I'm not looking at anybody. I don't want to move. I don't want to do anything. I get all the way to the ground. They're like, so what's up? I'm like, I'm not doing it. It's too high. Trees too dead. Not today. Not going to do it.
Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know what ended up happening to those chicks. No one put them in a nest.
I think there's a guy on Facebook with a big wide brim hat that fights with knives and has a really obscure falconry page. I think he might be flying one of them.
He took them both. He's flying them in a cast.
Yeah. Killing baggy pheasants in his backyard, probably. No, listen, we have been searching high and low for somebody who has done something with a red shoulder, and there's a lot of hypothesis and speculation, but I've never met a single person that has done anything remotely interesting with a red shoulder. It's just all hypothesis. And I've seen them in my yard. I mean, it
truly is, man. So
they're awesome birds and there's probably potential there, but I've never met anybody that's done anything with them. So
I'll tell you from my personal experience here, right? So working at the rehab center, our job, I was telling Aaron, my job immediately was to train these birds, right? And I realized that there's a huge demand at these rehabs for falconers that get juvenile birds in, or nestlings that they raise, or that have foster parents, right? Quote unquote foster parents that raising these chicks. You can't just let them go, right? You let them go. I mean, yeah, they're going to fly. They got a full crop, but they don't know how to do anything, right? They don't know how to provide for themselves. They die fast. They just become food. And our job, it was an apprentice of mine, Scott, at the center. I think he was probably the only other falconer that I worked with at the center, was to adopt these birds, essentially, right? And the center's pushing mad birds on you. They're like, man, I got 3 great looking hens over here. Why don't you take all of them, train them all, and let them go? I'm like, no. Right? I've got my own birds, right? And on occasion, I'd accept one. And there's another rehab center here, not a huge fan of, but especially with their raptor programs. But they had a female redtail that was 15 years old named Kenna, right? It's a male for sure, right? Weighed like 34 ounces, maybe 32. I flew him at 32 or something. Well, 15 years old, they decided that he could fly and he should have his chance at freedom, right? They asked if I wanted to take him because I was an advocate. It was like, why do you have that redtail captivity here? Like, it's been killing. You guys have had it for so long. I mean, it's free and clear, man. There's nothing wrong with this bird, right? It can fly. The only thing it can't do is hunt because it's out of practice, right? I'd be happy to take that bird off your hands sometime. They're just like, no, he can't fly more than 10 feet. He can't fly more than 10 feet. And I got a phone call one night. Hey, Kenna got away. She's out flying someplace. A volunteer came home from her program and reached in the car, opened the giant hood, put her glove in there, and the bird ejects, right? Kenna was found like 60 foot in, I don't know, Sycamore or something. So they called me to come trap her. Male. Well, anyway, I trap her. She comes down, hits the BC, and she was like 1.5 miles away from where he got away. And again, I advocated. I was like, dude, this bird can fly, right? Give it a shot. Let it go. I'll train it, right? I've never flown a male red tail before at the time. And I was talking to Aaron about, well, I think both of y'all, the happy endings in falconry. That was probably my only single time. I've got a picture of that bird, kind of 15 years old, after they finally surrendered possession of him being an ed bird and agreed to his freedom. Right, I caught him. I think it was on his third rabbit. Right, he was like a little rocket, man. He wanted it bad. It wasn't that hard to train him. He wanted it. He really did, and he drilled the heck out of the bunnies, man. But on his third rabbit, man, I laid down there with him in the snow and I took a selfie. He's looking at the camera, standing on the rabbit, blood all over his face, just like, dude, I swear to God, and I'm not being anthropomorphic or anything like that. You can see in his beak, dude, where it like raises up. Like he's so happy, dude. He's so happy, man. And I'm sitting there looking at that photo in the snow. I was like, dude, you're ready. You're ready. I don't know what the protocol is. 3 rabbits or 5 mice or whatever before I let you go, but I think you're ready, man. You know what to do, dude. You're killing him. So went to the truck and got some scissors and I cut his ankles off and just walked away. And I was like, man, I feel good about that. Right, it's literally the only good experience I've had from start to finish. But yeah, everything else just ends so freaking catastrophic. Whether it's one of your faults or it's always going to be your fault, right? But putting your bird in harm's way or something husbandry related, this man.
You brought up a good point. I think that might be. I'm sure there's other happy endings in falconry, but fly a bird successfully, get it through the juvenile stage, and release it back into the wild. That's probably one of the few happy endings. It's like my chamber raised goshawk. One day she's probably not going to die of old age. We'll put it that way.
No, man. I've never met an incipiter, period, that died of old age. Never. I've met Budios, red tails, that died of old age, but yeah, not an incipiter, man. They're always like that ADD kid in the classroom, right? That you had in high school. It's just a freak show. And that's what they are, man. That's what incipiters are, but that's what makes them good, right?
Oh yeah, they're the best. I have a question for you. Not really a question, but more of like a your opinion on something. And I've seen it personally online and stuff like that. The rehab community seems to have some sort of beef with the falconry community. It sounds like you didn't really have that with what you were doing, but is that a true thing, or am I making that up?
Yeah, no doubt, man. So like I said, I didn't have a really good experience with the rehab community, that establishment that didn't want to give me Kenna, right? They're just like, oh, falconer. Of course he wants our hawk, right? It's like, whatever, dude. It's like, there's about 1,500 of them between here and Michigan, right? I can go trap at any given time, right? But anyway, yeah, man, I've definitely experienced that sort of shame, but see, I'm a little different in that aspect where I can also relate to their rehab. So I could talk to the rehab part about it and like, actually, what the hell would you do? What do you do when you encounter this situation? You just let them go. You raise them. You feed them all that food, right? You let them molt. You let them, or you let them hard pin and fledge, and you just let them go, right? Oh, cool. Yeah, I feed the wild too, man. Right? I just threw a ton of fish carcasses in the woods. That's exactly what you're doing. I mean, they're easy prey for everything, right? Especially other birds, right? You just let them go without knowing. They basically have one shot at it. And they got to pick it up like that. It's not possible. I mean, it's just not. It's not possible. So then they start to listen. If they want to listen to logic, right? They start listening to you, and then you can connect like that. But from my experience, man, yeah, rehab unfortunately is dominated by, you know, what I would call kind of kooky, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Right. They're saying, oh, save the animals. Right. It's like, I get that. Okay, cool. Yeah. Most of these are human inflicted and it's our responsibility to counteract that. But
I was thinking
the work that goes into it
fur
is
mommies.
well, yeah, for mommies, yeah, man. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I hope the establishment that I work for never hears this, but yeah, man, it really is pointless. It's more about the individual birds than it is about, we're not improving percentages of populations. We're not putting a dent in it, you know. It's just about solely the individuals. But you know, the more I learn and realize, it's just like, yeah, I started like backpedaling, and you know, I'm investing a lot of my life into, you know, this place, and you know, I'm literally risking it. You know, I'm climbing probably, you know, 20, 30 times a year, and I'm doing all these rescues. I'm putting in all these man hours of, you know, driving 2.5 hours north. There's a bald eagle down, you know, in a cornfield somewhere. And, man, I put those 2 hours in on the truck, and I go chase a bald eagle around. I don't know if you want to chase a bald eagle. It sucks, man. They are fast as hell on foot. They are fast.
I've actually heard that.
They'll outrun you.
They think it's
they will make you a fool. They really, and then they'll jump into the freaking river. They've got no reservations of jumping right into the water. They're like, come on, let's go. And then they jump, and you're like, damn it.
You're not swimming one twice. Down, are you?
Twice. No, man. No. The first time that happened to me, it's back up against the bank. I'm in the water and I'm in current, which I can't feel bottom. It's pushing us, right? I see that bird, that current push it into the bank around a bend. And man, it's like March, right? It's cold. Dude, I'm taking my jacket off in the water. I'm like, it's the only thing I got. You know, she's looking at me. She's got her feet out, right? As I'm getting closer and closer. And my logic is just throw something at her, let her foot that, and then drag her into it and get the hell out of this cold ass water. And that's exactly what I did. But I was just so shocked that she freaking actually jumped that ledge into the river after we're both exhausted after chasing each other in a muddy ass cornfield. Yeah, man, she took that leap. She just jumped right on in, and she's like, it's either death or this. At least I got a shot with this, you know, in her mind. But so I learned from that. I'm like, they will swim on you. We got lots of rivers around where I live, which means lots of West Nile. So all these eagle nests on our rivers, right, get a call every single year. Every year, man, when it's nesting season. We got a golden eagle down on the ground, right? I'm like, no, that's juvenile bald eagle, and it's got West Nile, I promise. Right. And I was with my friend Corey. I got a call. Hey, there's a golden eagle down on the White River. I'm like, all right, well, I already knew what it was. I called Corey. I was like, hey, man, you want to go on a bald eagle rescue? Right. He's like, yeah, man. I had him help me sort of corral it. And I'm like, whatever you do. So we get there. We see the bird. I'm like, Corey, whatever you do not push that bird towards the water's edge. It'll jump. It's going to get, and then it gets real ugly, right? I don't feel like swimming today. And sure as shit, man, he walked right up close to it. I'm yelling at him. He's listening. The eagle repositions itself, blah, 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 whatever. Ends up in the freaking river. All right. It's in the river, and I'm like, damn it, but it's upstream. So I preemptively jump into the water, right? The eagle sees me go into the water. I can feel bottom. I've got a little bit of clarity underwater, and I got an idea. I'm going to let that current bring that bird to me. Right? I'm not chasing it. I'm not trying to swim it. Right. So I go up for a breath of air. I get eyes on the bird. And I'm like, all right. I go down and I'm like, should be here any second. Like 4, 3, 2. Are those feet? Oh, 1. And I grab its feet. Yeah.
That's
I
cool.
hop up. Yeah. I look like a total badass in front of my buddy Corey. He's like, what the hell, dude? He just looked like a freaking, like an eagle saving freaking, redneck, whatever. And
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. But so grab that up. And of course, I told him to record it before I go down. And, he's still in still frame camera mode. Almost had it on video. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, you're just putting in the time, right? And then you just see, what happens to these birds, man, right? It's just the birds you do get in. A lot of falconers don't want to fly rehab birds because they're weird. They really are. They're weird. And once they've been in rehab, they're not what they would be as a falconry bird if you had trapped it healthy, wild, off of a telephone pole somewhere. They are, for sure. Yeah,
I was listening to
something different.
I was listening to my enemy, John Munnier, his podcast.
Yeah.
That's one of your countrymen.
Yeah, he lives in Indiana too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he unfriended me on Facebook. I noticed that he was a friend request. Yeah. I was like, what? Money. Huh. All right. Yeah, I don't know. He just popped up as
what a little prick.
Yeah.
Typical John. Am I right?
Typical John.
No, I'm just kidding.
So, just anytime we talk about that little bald bastard, I start to get I lose track of my thoughts. So I was listening to one of his podcasts, and this dude named Jason Reed was on there, and Jason does eagle falconry in Wyoming, and he was saying how there are more rehab golden eagles that need to be flown by falconers than there are falconers willing to fly them.
Man, I've heard so much controversy involving the Goldens, right? My old sponsor, Roger, dude. So we have a lottery here in Indiana, right? Where you get drawn. You have to be elected, right, as a candidate first, right? So you've got to have I think it's 3 or 4, 5 recommendations sent to the state. Electing you to be a candidate to pull a golden, right? So it's a lottery. And he won 2 years in a row, right? He goes 2 years in a row. This year being one of them, last year being the other one. Scores his golden each time, gets him home. And no fault of his own.
He gets pulled twice and goes twice?
Yeah, no fault of his own. They were all either diseased or hereditary. I think it was one of each, and he lost both of them. Both.
Did he lose? Did he lose them? Like he lost the first one, and then he went back and got another one, and then lost that one.
The following year, after he was lucky enough to get drawn again, right? Yeah, no fault of his own again. Yeah, it wasn't anything that he did, anything that he fed. It was he got the necropsies done, the appropriate lab work in, and I think the last one had an enlarged heart. It was a big female, his target, and everything seems happy and fine. And get it home, it's like days later you lose it. Oh my God, man, it's got to be awful. But I don't know how other states work, but I've heard that with the rehab. Yeah, they've got to be a rehab bird, and then a rehabber has to sign off on it to give to the falconer. I'm not quite sure. I don't know. I've got no desire to fly a golden yet. Yeah.
Well, as you guys know, eagles mature very slowly, and if one of those gets orphaned, the process to get it trained up and hunting and suitable for release is years long.
Yeah.
And so it's probably a combination of people don't want to invest the time in something temporary, and they also don't know what they're getting into. They may get, a 10-pound face grabber or something like that.
Right. Yeah. With rehab birds, man, I've got to do a presentation on November 4th for the center, and it's with it's a male golden eagle that's lost his sight. It's weird, man. You look at this bird, it looks at you, but you can tell he's not all the way there. Right? It's weird.
So does he have some vision?
He's got some vision for sure. But he freaks out every single time that you approach him, right? Probably because he can't really see that well. But yeah, so he's an Ed bird now, and I've got to present that bird. I've never really liked that bird, right? That bird's never really cared for me. I've taken care of that bird for a long time. Yeah, every interaction where I've got to feed or put him on a glove to do maintenance in his mew. Yeah, there's always it's combative every time. So,
combative. That's a good word.
Yeah, it's combative. Same with a couple of their baldies. They're egg birds. Yeah.
I heard the baldies can be real spicy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Typically the males don't really, they're like, whatever, they'll deal with it. They'll fight you for a second. Actually, the first time in probably 12, well, I don't know, I guess maybe 15, 16 years of working at a rehab center, the first time ever, I had a bird just outright come after me and chase me. Right. It was a hen, mature hen, baldy. She came out, she was grabbing, she was trying to hurt me. Right. And I'm like, man, this, it really doesn't get old. There's still a lot of spark there for me just with that alone. I thought that was cool. I've never had that happen before, but yeah, I'm pretty burnt out on the whole rehab thing. But yeah, I mean, you can do a lot of good with rehab. You really can. But again, it's just for the individual bird. You're not helping any populations at all.
Well, most of our raptors in America are not in real jeopardy for the time being. So
right.
It's like, not like you're saving a legitimate endangered species.
Right.
So, I mean, most of our raptors are doing pretty well. Although I did hear recently,
right.
Well, to your point, it's like you're doing that individual bird a solid, which is nice.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's kind of a waste of time.
But as far as the grand scheme of things, it kind of doesn't really matter.
Right.
As far as the species is concerned. I saw recently.
It's not worth climbing 30 trees a year for. Shit. I haven't climbed probably in 5 years. So
with all that being said,
started to withdraw.
If I see a bird in need, it's like every year I end up getting a hold of like a red shoulder or a red tail.
I almost hit an owl the other night. Yeah. Just flew right across my windshield, man. I think it tagged its primaries.
What kind of owl?
Greyhorn. Yeah. So I've got greyhorns around here, right? With my greyhorns, I've got one bird that's really highly vocal. This is second. This would be his second season. Hasn't really caught. Hasn't done that well, right? Not his fault, mine. Then I've got another greyhorn here that'll hoot, right? He doesn't. The first greyhorn I was telling you about doesn't hoot yet. So from my experience with greyhorns, they've got to be imprints. Not only they don't necessarily have to be exposed to that hoot, man. That's something that I've learned. I was always curious about that. A really articulate hoot, like hoo 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 hoo, right? They've got to hear another one do it.
So the imprints will learn from.
They do, yeah, for sure. Well, instinctively they want to hoot anyway, even if they've never heard it, but they've never hooted before.
All mine did was scream.
Yeah, man, that's very typical of like a second year bird, right? Then until they start to kill and get a little independent, and eventually they're going to encounter another greyhorn, right? So that scream, right, that's a fledgling scream. It's annoying as hell. I get it, man. It's awful. Especially when they're hungry, man. They'll scream and scream. So vocal. I know.
It was miserable.
I don't know how to break
miserable.
that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, you just want to wring his neck, but or just let him go. Just like, man, yeah, all right. I get it. Here, just go. Fend for yourself. You'll be all right. So, yeah, I've got neighbors, but they tolerate it. They like it. They think it's majestic and cool, and that their neighbors got birds and yeah, I totally get it. But it seems like once they start to learn how to kill, you really get that bird on its game, on its target species, right? They're screaming in the field on your fist, right? I fly them like a goss, right? Most of the time, 90% of the time, I fly off the fist. The other 10%, I'll do like a red tail, even though they suck at following. They do. But they learn to shut up, right? They learn that maybe if they're quiet,
yeah,
this is my theory, that they might get fed more, right? They might get their game. They might get a feed up faster. And that's my theory. Either that or it's something biological that just tells them to shut up. But yeah, that fledgling scream initially, man, that will attract so many wild great horns.
You're right about that. I saw that firsthand with mine.
They want to see if it's theirs, I think, So great horns, historical, they'll go sometimes a year, like a full calendar year almost from the time of them hatching and then pairing up again and going through the cycle again. They could be taking care of one or two, typically one. But all the way up to that period before they got to push it away and say, hey, look, you're out. All right. Now you're invading our territory. We got to push you out of here and do this whole raising thing again. So they're really used to that year round. You'll hear that scream sometimes, that, that's a food begging thing. Yeah, it's no doubt, man. It's really annoying. But I've noticed from the past 3 that I've flown, minus one, who's going on year 3, we'll stop that once they get enough experience under their belt, or it could be a biological thing. I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah, around 2 or 3, they'll start to shut up. Thank God. Because, yeah, I've got one screaming right now.
Unfortunately, mine didn't live that long. I was telling Adam earlier, he passed away in the Muse, and I think it was the neighbors doing construction. So it was unfortunate. I dropped a rat in the day before, and I walked by and I caught a glimpse of the rat, and I was like, well, there's no way that something's up, because that whole rat is still sitting there the next day. And sure enough, I look in and he's laying on the floor. Yeah, it's horrible. I love that bird, dude. He was such a cool bird. He had such a cool personality.
Man, it sucks that you didn't really weren't able to maximize on that potential, man. I've only really done that with one bird, one of my great horns. And I was talking to Aaron earlier about this, but I put my heart and soul into this one bird. Boomer was his name. My first great horn. Just because we got this extreme rabbit shortage here. We've got this urban sprawl issue here where I live. Just decimated my fields. And before you know it, you can't find any bunnies anywhere. I noticed at the IU campus. Yeah, I know a lot of these dog guys. Well, or a nocturnal bird, right? Where I'm seeing all these bunnies coming out, always at night. So my logic there was, well, I've got this population that I never see during the daytime. They're always in urban areas, neighborhoods, campuses, under hedges, things like that. I'm like, hell with it. I looked up the laws and I was like, I don't think I'm breaking any. I think I can do this. I'm going to fly at night, on campus, on public property, right? And I'll tell you what, dude, I can't even count how many times the cops got called on me. But It was a blast. It was an absolute blast. Flying that bird, all he has to do is see it. And man, he'll fly through walls to get to it. It's
Really?
it's just unstoppable, really. I mean, well, unless you're a wall, he'll fly right into it. I've seen the wall splat scenario a couple times, but that's when he's just too intense. The bird was too low, right? Way too desperate. I've learned to dial that up. Don't fly that desperate. You don't need to do it. He'll literally kill himself, right? And then you find that sweet spot, right, where it's just like, he'll appropriately assess that risk before he'll launch, right? Am I willing to do this? No, I'm not willing to hit a wall tonight. Am I willing to fly through some hedge? Yeah, I might throw a foot out and grab it as it's running through, right? Just that dialing it in. And man, that bird was a lot of fun.
How much head do you think you took with that?
Oh, I don't know. I think his first season, every time I took him out, I think he got 5. It was 4. He got 4 rabbits in a night. I gave him a baggie one day. My birdie Brian's bird, red tail, hit a rabbit. I asked him to keep it. We got a baggie. That's another thing about falconry I can see where people have a big problem. But I baggied that bird, grabs the rabbit, takes it out, fed it a little bit, rewarded him, took him out that night, showed him a bunny, and slammed it, right? I'm like, oh my God, I did it, right? I just got a great horn to do something. And took him out the next night. He did it again. Took him out the next night. He did it again. I had not learned yet how to adequately fly a great horn at that point, right? I call all these people. I'm just like, dude, my bird's smoking them every night. Come here. If you don't believe it, watch, right? So I have like 3 people with me. Come down from Indy, about an hour drive. We go out hunting that night, dude. I pulled my great horn out after seeing like 4 of them, 4 bunnies just chilling in the wide open. Get my bird out. I show my bird. My bird's like, meep.
Yeah, of course.
On my glove.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, hold on. No. My bird's broken. Hold on. Right. He had no interest in it at all. 0. Well, the reason why I wasn't interested is because he had so much casting material after, the prior 3 rabbits, right? All of that fur. And I tried him again the next night. Same thing. No response. Maybe it was the 3rd night he casts, right? And I immediately could tell that he would do it that night. He's so aggressive in his weathering yards. I kept him in weathering yards. Just his behavior, just assessing his behavior, like no scale or anything, no unit of measurements. It's just what you're seeing, right? And I'm like, he's going to do it tonight. And I took him out and boom, right? And then it dawns on me, it's the casting material. Where your diurnals, your red tails, your gosses, whatever you're flying. It doesn't matter. Weight is weight according to that scale and what we know how to fly, right? That's the best unit of measurement that we have is on that scale, but not with the great horn. It's different. Weight does come into a factor, but if it is at its target weight and it's got a stomach or a casting built up, pressing on that stomach, it feels full, right? Until it casts, right? The anatomy is completely different. Once it casts, it's game on, man. It's game on.
I mean, I've seen that. Sorry to interrupt you, but I mean, I've seen that with like red tails and goshawks,
Sure.
Like if they don't cast, they'll chase maybe and kill still, but there's something off about them. They're like something's up. You know what I mean? And then once they get that casting out, it's like game on. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I guess I've never really paid attention to my diurnals just because it doesn't really reflect that much as, something like a great horn.
Yeah, I mean, it's more dramatic with the
again.
great horn.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you can tell it's a night and day difference.
The pellets with
Again,
owls are more substantial than diurnal birds.
Oh yeah, man, they're fat. It's like somebody casting up a baby arm sometimes. They're big old nasty slimy things, dude. They got all kinds of. You don't even know what the hell that
obviously.
was.
Yeah, intact bones.
Yeah, you don't even know what the hell. You didn't feed it something brown, right? Yeah, man, I've had that hat before. I had a raccoon come too close to the enclosure, and dude, there was raccoon fur everywhere inside of the enclosure. It dawns on me that raccoon was attracted, to the scent of the food that I'm feeding it and all that, and got too close. my greyhound grabbed its ass off.
Awesome.
It really did. Yeah.
So saying
they're awesome. They're quirky. They really are. But for me, man, that's exactly what I wanted. Had a blast flying them. I've got really, compared to diurnals, man, I've had a lot of fun with diurnals, but I gotta be completely honest. I think I've had my most fun bird was probably my greenhorn. And granted, I'm not out there like with guys like Sladen, that are out there and every day hitting their quail. Yeah, it's got to be awesome. I don't live there, right? I'd be doing the same thing. I live in southern Indiana where we got squirrels and rabbits, man, and that's and roadkill. That's about it. So, yeah, it's hard to get that kind of excitement. But yeah, where I live, that bird filled that niche perfect. I mean, every time I took him out, for years, 5 years before I lost him. Yeah, I was devastated when I lost that bird.
Do you mind sharing how that happened?
Yeah, it was a fly off. Obviously unintentional, but it wasn't even seasoned. I was servicing his, doing maintenance on his weathering yard. And so I go into where he's at, grab him, put him inside, and go back outside. And I start working on his weathering yard, just general maintenance, clean up, weed eating, things like that. Time to put him back outside. I go inside and I grab him, man, and this big group of Harleys drive by, right? Just loud and cracking, just right. That species of bird is really easy to freak out, right? If they've not been exposed to it. And yeah, just freaked out, baited, lost hold of his jesses, and man, he was gone. He was out, right? And I saw what tree he landed in. And the remainder of daylight hours, he's just getting dive bombed by a pair of red shoulder hawks and crows. So as soon as that sunset, dude, he was out of there. As soon as those diurnals went to roost, he was gone. Right. And
damn,
man, I spent like a month building all these big, like Swedish goshawk traps. I trapped the same. I planted it all around my area, trying to trap him back. Just luck of the draw. But I ended up trapping this one barred owl like 3 different times. And it was the same one. It was the same one, man. But yeah, so I lost a lot of respect for barred owls after that. But
they frequent rehabs too, don't they?
Yeah, right. Yeah, they do. Yeah.
They frequent my backyard also.
Yeah.
Like every night, they're cool. They come by my pond.
Can we back up here a little bit on the gray horned owls? I wanted to, because I'm sure a lot of people are curious. Walk us through how you.
It's not a conventional thing. It's sort of like the cat.
Walk us through how you do it. Can you give us kind of a? I'm sure you could talk for hours about it.
I really could, man. So when I decided to pick up an owl, right, knowing that it's a really unconventional thing, everyone's just like, oh, don't be the owl guy, don't do that, oh no, you can't get an owl to fly, you can't do it, it's gonna suck, they're dumb, they're big, they're slow. It's like, but I had to try, man. I was like, I've always been that guy that to get burned, I got to experience that pain, right? I got to know for myself because I didn't really buy it. I've worked with great horns in rehab, and there's something to them. Yeah, they're big. They might be slow. I didn't know. I've never flown one yet, and but they're problem solvers for sure, right? They fit their niche in nature. I mean, dude, they're like stealth. They've got the footing power of like a T-Rex, dude, right? I mean, they are insanely powerful. And I didn't have my diurnals were suffering, right? I had red tail and goss at the time before I decided to move on a great horn just because I couldn't find any game. Like I said, the only game I could find is at night. So my logic was fire with fire. I'm pulling a great horn. I'm going to raise it. I'm going to get it to work. It worked, man. It took off. And dude, I loved it. Yeah, I was sold on the great horn thing. And granted, that's not to say that where you live in New York or you live in South Carolina, that's going to work, right? It works here.
North Carolina, big difference.
Sorry, my bad. I thought it was South Carolina. On the phone ID, it says SC, I think. I was second guessing that. Now.
Means small cock.
It does, yeah. Yeah, don't do that.
So
yeah, don't do that small cock shit. Yeah, but yeah, man, it worked. Yeah.
So you pull.
So I
do you think you can?
One.
Do you think Do you think you could train a hag or a 1-year-old bird?
No, I wouldn't even try that. I really wouldn't. You just want to. You don't know what that bird. No, yeah, I don't think it's possible. I'm sure you can get it to kill something, right? But like to get it to like the level that you want, right? Every night, consistent. It's not sitting on top of a dorm building, for 3 hours at 4:00 in the morning while you're swinging. That's happened to me before, dude.
Right.
It had.
Yeah.
Oh, and cops come every time immediately. You're out there blowing a whistle, swinging a lure, still the lights turning on. You're like,
trying to get the sorority girls to come out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a girls' dorm too. Not good.
Yeah.
Right. And you don't want that. So yeah, you want to minimize that as much as you can. So you pull one, you raise it.
What age do you pull?
I think the target, my opinion is the target is 3-4 days tops.
I've heard that too.
Yeah.
Like 2 days. Like somebody was telling me they don't want one unless like it's like 2-3 days old and that's it.
Yeah. Anything
older than that, they're like, nope, I don't want it.
See, all that, man, it's so funny, man. All that, there was none of that info out ever. I did it and I was all over Facebook with it, trying to, I'm arguing with people and, all that. And not to say I'm the OG at it, because I'm not. There's lots of other people that flow great horns successfully. But I managed to contact and find them all for the most part. As many as I could, and just compiling all this info I could possibly get. Like I was hardcore in it, man. I was really dedicated to the cause, and in my book, I probably made the best great horn I will probably ever make, just because I was that motivated and dedicated at the time. The one I'm flying now, it's actually his brother, not a nest mate, but a year after. He's good. I'll kill with him, frequently, but he doesn't have that fire that his brother had, probably because I didn't either when raising him, So yeah, a lot of TLC's got to go into it.
So how do you start the baby? Do you do do you minimize food association early on, or, talk us through?
Man, my logic there was to imprint this thing as hard as I could get it, right? Like in my mind, I don't know what I'm doing. So the best thing I could do for success is food association. So yeah, man, I'm feeding from my hands. I'm doing all that, right? All the things you're not supposed to do. And I'm using dog toys, right, with fur intentionally, trying to get this association really strong to fur, not just my hands. I'm trying to separate my hands from it. And I eventually start tying, tidbits and meat to these dog toys. And now I'm buying toys that look like rabbits, right? Start feeding them, essentially dog toys with meat tied to them as he's fledging. And I think it was about maybe 2 months after his fledge, I really started to hammer that toy aspect in. And I'm playing with him the whole time. He's still kind of cute, but like dangerous at the same time, right? Like he'll grab your hand. And I think it was December when I really started to get him on rabbits. I sort of let him sit for like a month, not knowing what to do after he's fledged. Got a baggie, like I said. And immediately after that baggie, I took him out the same night with a rabbit. And I took him out the same night. He remembered and smoked it immediately. It's like a thump that you've never heard. I mean, they hit it from the side like a goss. They'll come up from behind and grab. And yeah, one of their quirks is they are a really quirky bird. Like mine, I know you had a different experience, but yeah, mine would only launch if he saw the rabbit run. And so I had to run. I had to make it run. Yeah, Aaron was telling me with his, it just, if it ran, it didn't want to chase. But yeah, I mean, I use RCs, just like RC car. I've done that with Gosses and things, seems to work. So I replicated that with my Great Horn. Yeah, he would just smoke, a dog toy essentially that I had tied to the back of the RC truck. So I knew he would chase, but yeah, he wouldn't chase. It'd just be right there standing wide open, right? And just do nothing. He's just leaning at it, looking at it, waiting, right? And I'm like, come on, dude, let's go. Right? He won't do it. I'm like, take a couple steps further in, rabbit runs. He's off, right? And
they're quick too, huh?
Stupid fast, dude.
I heard
stupid
that.
Fast.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, really surprisingly fast. I don't want to say they fly like a goss, but those direct pursuit flights, I mean, they can maneuver too. I mean, they're going really agile around buildings, trees, whatever their target's running around. I only threw him on a squirrel one time. He probably killed, I don't know, 60 rabbits this first season. Not
Jeez.
Incredibly impressive, right? But I've never tried to double. I'd always like, all right, you're good. Mostly because they have a problem of surrendering that kill. Right? They don't want to give it to you. Like you can't trade off like you can with a red tail, right? There's always something heavily manipulated there with a great horn if you get it to release. I learned on my second bird that the lure, I'm not going to just make the lure because he'll grab that too, right? He'll grab that lure too. Now you're missing your lure and the rabbit, right?
Right.
They just take it all. What I was doing with him, that bird specifically, is I just pick the rabbit up with him attached to it, right? Whether he likes it, he's going to fight the whole way. I open the truck door, I put him in the giant hood, and I shut it. And the whole time he's going in the hood. I noticed the drive home, once that stops, he can't see that rabbit anymore, right? There's no ambient light in there. He just kind of forgets about it. And then when I pull in the driveway, I open that door real fast, open that giant, the rabbit's laying right there, right? And he's like, oh, hey. And I'm like, oh, nice try. Here's a lure, right? And he'll take it and be pissed off for a little while, but he'll do it again the next night. But I learned a more efficient way to do that with my second great horn, and that's to associate the giant hood itself as the lure, right? So I would feed him in the giant hood, his big, what we would call crop ups. Owls don't have crops, but feed ups. I'd feed them those big feed ups inside the giant hood. Giant hood's a good place. This is what you want, right? And then I could just pick the rabbit up as I would with a preloaded lure inside the giant hood. Every time I took them out, I threw a lure. I always had one on me. So I had 2 lures, 1 lure in the giant hood, 1 lure on me. In case something happened, I need to call him back. Or we got a rabbit. I pick him and the rabbit up, I take him back, and I open the giant hood, seize the lure. He will, as he's flying, he'll try to try to steal that rabbit from you. But he'll always let go. The psychology works the same in diurnals, right? Where it's sort of like a Jedi mind trick where they just surrender a huge, big old thing of food for this little stupid lure, right? With a chick on it. This is like, man, you guys are supposed to be smart, but yeah, they'll do the same thing, but they won't drag it with you. You just hold on to it. But yeah, their psychology, I don't know, just tells them at all costs, I got to get in that giant hood. And that's how I got them to release. So I use the giant hood as a lure.
Nice.
But yeah, they notoriously have a horrible time releasing. But again, man, they're not for everybody. I'm not saying that they are at all. They're definitely not. I could see where people would get, real displeased, especially after years and years of flying. Diurnals are so different, right? It's night and day. Literally, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're so different. They're corks. They just get obsessed with this little thing that they hear over there, or
dude, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, or something that they get obsessed with visually.
I just had a flashback to having mine on the glove, seeing rabbits. And then you hear, like a freaking bicycle bell in the distance, and he turns his head and he's just looking over there. And I'm like, bro,
into nothingness for 20 minutes. Yeah. But
they require more patience than any bird I've ever flown. That's for sure.
But yeah, no, they're definitely not for any, average falconer, because they're not. But they're awesome at night, man. If like you fly diurnals and you just still got that rush from the day before, and you just like, man, I wish I could fly something, but it's nighttime. I don't know, man. Maybe great horns for you. They are fun. They are. Yeah, I had a blast with that bird, man.
We were saying earlier on the phone how powerful they are, and I don't think people realize, they know they're deadly to their tame hat goshawk if it gets left out at night. But
yeah,
short of an eagle, they've got to be the most powerful bird we have in America.
No doubt about it, man. With that food association that Aaron and I were talking, I had Kaiser, the guy I was feeding wild salmon to. He jumped out of my truck one time when I had Boomer, my first great horn, on my glove, and he knocked this like fur toy out of the truck. My bird looks at it. It's like, oh, food, right? And goes down, grabs it. And I'm not thinking. I just bend down and I grab that toy. And immediately, man, it's like Tyson, dude. It was just, bam, just smashes my hand, just grabs it, right? I'm like, oh, hold up, hold on, stop. Right. And you could tell he's getting more and more and more excited. And I knew the more excited he got, the more concerned I got, the more it hurt. And I ultimately, I was always taught to grab the head of the bird if you can't get it off in rehab, right? I always thought that was pretty sketch myself, but I didn't have any other option. So I tried that. I grab his head, try to get him off of me. I mean, it hurts so bad. My only alternative was you literally, the thought crosses your mind, I'm going to have to kill this thing. It's not going to let go. It really is it's that intense, right? That pain. But obviously that's not an option, right? So you're looking around, and what I did is I found a bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. I think it was like bolts and like car parts or something. It was near a hose. I kick it over and I fill that bucket up just about head level, and we go. So I push him in. He's sucking for air. He's underwater. He's freaking out. I had no options, right? And
you're desperate at that point.
I was, man. Well, after I grabbed him in the head, man, he gave it to me absolute full throttle, right? I feel my arm is involuntarily shaking. Everything. I thought he had already gave it to me, right? I didn't think he can get any worse. So I grabbed that head, and man, I learned something that day. Yeah, Bill, I'll never do that again. Yeah, he's like, you want to play the squeeze game? Watch this, right? Just pop. I feel everything popping. Yeah, it was hell. It was absolute hell. It was by far the worst footing I ever took in my life, man, ever. So sharp. I mean, dude, I ran in, my bird flies off, goes to a tree. I run inside and I'm assessing the damage in my hand. And I've got puncture wounds like I've got meat hanging out of my hand. I'm looking around for tenant damage. I didn't see any tenants, I literally just kind of pushed the meat back into my hand, and I go out, start looking for my bird. He didn't come down until that evening. I got him down. He didn't move at all. He was so pissed. He just wouldn't acknowledge me there until something happened when that sunset. He came down to a lure, and then we were all good. So I never showed another dog ever again, man. But yeah, it was the worst footing I've ever taken ever, by far. Yeah, they were saying, do your best not to get footed. It's just one little stupid thing, you just grab it. Just grab that toy, and it was over. It was over. But yeah, I learned something real valuable that day. It's they are just the most intense grabbing, and yeah, there's little psychos, man. They really are. They're little tigers of the sky, as they say. But yeah, I'm not promoting great horns or anything like that. I mean, all I know is that it worked for me in my little niche when I needed a great horn, and man, it fulfilled that need really well. Yeah, they're incredibly fast, powerful. Yeah, I don't want to say like stupid smart. I don't think so, but they're smart enough to fill their own natural niche.
They're good at what they do.
They are, yeah, they are.
We were talking earlier about their bite force.
Yeah,
I had a red tail recently that was really into biting. You couldn't feel her keel without her biting you.
Right.
When I was hunting the gray horned owl, he had caught a rabbit, and my trade off was a little different, but I was handing him little white mice for a minute to to reward him for his hard work. And he missed a mouse and grabbed my finger with his beak and bit down, man. Like he thought he was eating a mouse. And I really believe they could break your finger with their bite. I really do.
I said they could, man. I mean, dude, they just, they'll crack you, right? The one that I have now, Otis, dude, he bit me in the lip one time. Man, it messed me up. Dude, I was trying to show my neighbors or something. I'm in the mew or the weathering yard, and I put him on my glove, and I'm like, oh, what's the matter? Right. I'm like kissing the top of his head. Oh, man. You already know where it goes, man. I drew him away so fast, dude. The blood just immediately just come rushing out of my face. I'm like, damn it. That was stupid. But yeah. He bit the shit out of my lip, man.
That's great.
I honestly didn't know if my whole lip was there or not, man. I really didn't. I'm like, okay.
What was your neighbor's reaction? It was like in horror, like in shock.
I think they took it well. I'm like, I'll do that on purpose. I just bleed like that on purpose, right? That's what we got. That's what we do over here. Yeah. Trying to play it off like that. No, I was just like,
this is normal. This is every day. We do this all the time.
But no doubt, man. Yeah, that bite is no joke. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mess with my owl's feet at all. Like if they don't want me to, if they're like getting kind of grabby, when you first pick them up off the perch, if they're acting grabby, I'm going to wait a second before I start wrapping those jesses around to my front end of my glove,
Right.
to my palm. But yeah, the bird I have now, he's grabby for sure. He'll grab your hand. Yeah, just because he doesn't want, just because he wants to hurt you, right? He doesn't want to be picked up. It's typically in the off season when they're molting and things like that, where they just, don't care. You don't need to be here. What are you doing? Shit. Here he comes. All right. Damn it. I hate this guy. And they start grabbing, right? Yeah. No, I don't want that again. I've only been footed once by a great horn. That's all it took.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how hacking one would go.
Face. I don't know, man. Somebody was talking about that. I've always been curious about it. Probably you're just going to piss your neighbors off, really. You're just going to be out there screaming all day, all night, I wouldn't hack it at night. You don't know what happens, It'll get smoked by another great horn. They are so territorial. My great horn often fought every great horn I've ever flown. And they all act the same way when they see a wild great horn flying at night. They all react the same way. You don't know it's there hardly, 90% of the time. You don't know it's there. I've learned that when they just shut up and they just stare, it is off into the darkness somewhere, like they won't move. And I've learned to really respect that, right? And just know that, wait, there's another great horn. Right? They just act completely different. Yeah, I've let my bird go when I first started to see that with Boomer, and always ended in a fight. And I learned every time he acted like that, that's not a rabbit, right? That he's targeted on. He's going to go for another great horn. He got beat up literally every time. Every time I let him go, I'd be making a trip to the Raptor Center at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. My bird's, a bird hit a wall. I literally seen another great horn chasing him that he engaged, got beat up. They're falling down. He regains flight and takes off. And it's like a cartoon. I swear to God, it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. He was looking behind him like this with his head turned, looking behind him as this other owl is chasing him, not paying attention to where he was going, right? And he slams right into Eigenman Hall, a huge dorm, right? That's how I often fly on campus. He slid down. He hit the wall like he's falling. He's, I don't know, 30 miles an hour, right? He's really trying to get away from this bird after he just regained flight, not being completely oblivious, and slides down this wall. It was like slow-mo, like a cartoon, right? Just slow-mo with his wings all out, like all the way down. Hits the ground. I thought my bird was dead, dude. That smack, right? It was hard, right? Luckily, he didn't hit it, beak first. He was in, there was like this window down. There was like this little wall that he fell down behind where there's windows and things. And he's literally laying there as I got up to him. I finally get to him. He's laying there and he's sort of moving.
My God.
He stands up and he turns around and he looks at me and I'm like, oh, buddy, he's got one eye closed and he's all, man. I'm like, oh, buddy, oh no. Right. I pick him up. I've got a picture of him, man. The next day he had a swollen eye and it was half closed and the other was like wide open. But yeah, they do some dumb stuff, man. They really do. But they are the most resilient birds that I've ever flown, though. They're tough, man. Yeah, they could take a beating. I can't say that if I've never experienced that with any other bird, actively fighting a great horn and being okay the next day.
Yeah.
They're tough.
Have you ever considered flying a different species of owl?
Not really, man. No.
I mean,
I've been curious. I kind of thought of.
I mean, what's the point? You can do
Sure.
everything with a great horned owl where you are that you could with an eagle owl.
Yeah, an eagle owl. I mean, just bigger, more impressive, but slower, right? You're not going to get that launch like you do with a great horn, unless I'm letting them go on coyotes, actively.
Sounds cool.
That would be cool. I've not known anybody to do that, but I think that would be cool, and I think that would be the right species of bird to use. But I know you were talking about Munnier. I think it's like a 16-ounce Harris Hawk or something. Granted, there's something wrong with this coyote, but they bumped a coyote, man, and he let his bird go, and it put a coyote down, man. It held it down there, grabbed it by the scruff, holds it down to the ground long enough, for the other falconers to come up to, dispatch it. But man, hey, the guy got a coyote with a freaking tiny ass little Tiercel Harris Hawk. So
yeah,
gotta give that.
A blind squirrel finds a nut every now and then,
Yeah, right, sure.
The video is great. Yeah. Did you see the video?
Yeah,
it's a good video.
Yeah,
epic.
I think the snowy owls could be good too.
Man, it's been done. I don't know. So I wouldn't even want to fly one, really, man.
I think if you lived up in Canada or Alaska.
Yeah, maybe, sure. Yeah.
Or Michigan.
They'll migrate here. Yeah, they'll migrate down here to our airport.
Why do you say Michigan?
It looks like it
gets wicked cold up there. And Adam goes there a lot.
I think they're diurnal, aren't they? Snowy owls? Or are they crepuscular?
Certain part of the year they would have to be diurnal, otherwise they'd die.
True. They have a lot of daylight up there, so yeah, they have to be willing to hunt during the day. Gray horned owl story. Every falconer has one. A friend of mine was out flying a Harris Hawk, and they were taking property owner through showing them falconry in exchange for access to their land. And she's coming through a creek bottom, and a great horned owl flies up out of the creek bottom, and she gets over there to see what the great horned owl was doing. This was during the daylight too. The great horned owl had a fresh red tail that had just killed a squirrel.
So it had the red tail and a squirrel?
Yeah, so the red tail
caught not that stupid, right? He's waiting for the red tail to catch the squirrel.
Exactly.
And then he's gonna go.
Exactly. The red tail caught a squirrel. Great horned owl came down and killed the red tail. And they said it was a big female red tail too. Big one.
Yeah, man. So it's nothing, right? So red tails still kill owls. Great horns or owls in general, right? But yeah, it also happens the other way around, right? It just depends on who's got the lights on and who's got the lights off, right? But typically, in that case that you just explained, yeah, that happened in the daytime. But yeah, they naturally hate each other, right? They see each other as either enemy or food at different times.
It's like me and John. We hate each other.
Yeah.
No, there's all kinds of cool stories about great horned owls. Adam, have you heard of they did that mortality study? They were studying turkeys. You heard that story?
No.
It's okay. So there's a biologist doing a mortality study on turkeys, trying to see what's killing the turkeys in a particular patch of woods. And so they had forgot how they set it up, but they had GPS trackers on the turkeys, and then they were trying to see what's killing them at night. Like what's the biggest thing that's killing them. And what the biologist found was this is during breeding season, like late winter. And if they found that the pair of great horned owls that were in that area killed all the turkeys in the study, killed I believe red fox.
They killed everybody.
Red fox, raccoon, skunk, possum, literally everything in that patch of woods.
Yeah.
That pair of great horns killed them all. No problem.
Oh man, they really are. Like I said, they're so broad spectrum, man. I mean, they eat everything from skunks, right, to fish, right? It's just they're so universal. It's just, yeah. I mean, how can you not try one, right?
They're so cool, man.
Yeah, But yeah, I get it, man. You know, that Harry Potter shit and all this. It's just, yeah, dude, I can't tell you how many people just like, so you watch Harry Potter? It's just like, dude.
What's your favorite Harry Potter movie?
Exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So that was a genuine question.
I realized I got, it's a legit question. Yeah,
I'm joking.
Yeah.
Never seen a single one.
I got automatically thrown into that category.
You think it's satanic.
Right? It is satanic. At least that's what my mom told me. Can't watch it.
Come on, Mama Sue. Let Casey watch Harry Potter. Right? Yeah, they're good movies. Come on.
Following.
Yeah, they're good.
I heard the book is good.
Is it? Munnier's a Harry Potter guy.
He loves it.
I was going to say that's why he got into falconry.
Yeah. Wanted to be a wizard or something.
No, that's why he unfriended me, though, man.
Because you don't like Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh, maybe.
Yeah. He took his spirit animal from him.
No, I don't know, man. I think maybe he did. I don't know. I saw him as a friend suggestion. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
What?
Hold on. He's a little bitch. He probably got his butt hurt.
Yeah, he might have.
Oh my God. So Adam, we didn't cover we were talking about owls, but it sounds like you have a pretty good amount of experience in falconry, and you've probably flown a bunch of stuff. What have you flown?
I've flown a lot of stuff, man. I've not flown any Merlins like you. I've not done that.
I didn't do anything extravagant with them. I did catch game with them consistently, but it wasn't like waiting on. It was just like northeast.
No, man. I guess I'm kind of outside of the owl thing. I'm pretty vanilla, really, man. I never went out on a limb, because I wasn't trying to dominate falconry with all these species that you weren't supposed to be able to catch game with, like red shoulders or anything like that. Nothing weird, but flew one peregrine, man. She was a lot of fun. I flew her really unconventionally, typically out west, they're corkscrewing their birds and all that. I flew one from the glove, right? Did a good job. Really enjoyed that bird.
You flew a peregrine from the glove? What do you mean, like pursuit flights?
Yeah, just direct pursuit flights on ducks, yeah. Dude, my technique, I put my dog in the water to flush the ducks. I would tuck the bird, in my chest, facing away from the ducks. And once the dog got close to the water, right, I've always had labs, really water oriented. Even if they think it's play, like these aren't, when I first did this, it wasn't a hunting dog or anything. It was just, play. You throw something towards the water, they see the water, they're going for it, right? So I just sort of tuck. And when he starts nearing that edge, or I could tell that the ducks are about to flush, I'd turn around, right, and show her the ducks, and she would go. She actually, she got shot down once by a red tail pursuing a duck, and I had no idea it was there. I thought I was going to lose her. I ended up retiring her that season and flying her again. She was an older bird. I got her from another falconer. I think she was retired from falconry originally, turned breeder, then the breeder didn't want it. You know how these birds get sometimes.
Yeah, right.
Passed down and I was like, I've never flown a peregrine. I'm going to give it a shot. I wonder how she'd do on the glove, even though it's a really old hag. I doubt, we're going to get much. Oh, no, she was fun. But that's how I'd fly her.
They make goshawks for that kind of style of hunting, right?
Yeah. But, well, man, I tried it with my owl.
That'd be sweet. It didn't work?
Yeah, I walked right
you gotta
up
make
to
that.
the ducks. But,
dude, you like challenge.
I didn't make a connection.
I almost caught ducks with my owl.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I almost, too.
The keyword is almost. Keyword is almost.
Yeah, but we just didn't try that hard. I was like, this is dumb. Yeah,
I almost caught a Drake wood duck one time also, but I don't have it mounted over my fireplace, so it doesn't count.
No.
Bucket list species.
A Drake Woody. Yeah, man. Yeah. I've caught lots of ducks, man, but I've never caught one with a great horn, unfortunately. I did almost catch a Drake with a great horn as well, but yeah,
a Woody.
It was so no, Mallard. Sorry.
Okay.
And Yeah, that's what we have around here. I mean, we get woodies too, but yeah, mallards are. Yeah. I like my gosses. I'll occasionally fire red tail, but more of a goss owl kind of guy, I guess. I don't know what flavor that fits in, but yeah,
the badass flavor, the cool
we'll
flavor.
It's that cool shit, bro.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how long? So you were in falconry for a while. How long did it take you to start getting into goshawks?
Really fast, man. I've always been fast. I actually tried a goss before I did an owl.
Okay.
I had a buddy pull a goss for me in Wyoming, and sadly, say I didn't even get that bird to launch before it got killed. It got killed in the mews.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't really. Yeah, I didn't really get to launch that bird. I trained it on the boat and everything, and I did not know that was illegal at the time.
What do you mean? What do you mean by the boat?
I put a perch. I mounted a bow perch on the front of my river boat with aspirations of chasing these ducks down.
Oh, that's
waterboard.
Cool.
Yeah, no, he rode on it. He did everything. Then I found out it was illegal.
How is that illegal? That's so cool. That's got to be legal. Come on.
No, man. So your boat, just like we got to follow normal hunting laws, as you know, right? Your states. Your boat can't be in motion when you pull that trigger, right? The engine's got to be powered off, all of that, and I'm whipping around corners, 40 miles an hour with the goshawk like this, right? Trying to get these ducks to flush, and launch my bird, that's just, I had this big envision of that happening. No, they're just like, oh yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, you can't do that here. No, your boat has to be shut down completely still before you pull that trigger. Your bird launching from that perch is your trigger. I'm like, show me that law where my bird launches. That's my trigger, right? Like, but what if you just can't test that?
What if you just start like at the far end of the lake and do like 80 and then kill it, and then just rip into the flock and just catch one?
I thought outside of the box too for a while, but
promoting bad stuff. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah,
follow your local and state laws, please.
Right. Yeah, it didn't work. So that didn't result in anything. But then you get another goss, and you learn, this is working. I can do this better. You get another one, and over the years, and
you gotta do that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's sort of once you start, that primitive instinct within any falconer really kicks in. It's just, I think maybe I've known one or two falconers that have been falconers for long stretches of time that have ultimately just opted out in the end. I can't do it anymore. It's sort of like a curse. I feel like, we're just setting ourselves up for, failure after failure after failure. I'll consider a failure losing a bird on my watch, right? And unfortunately, with a sport, there's a lot of negative things involved in falconry. Yeah, losing birds is one of them. It sucks. It hurts every time. Everybody's always on the fence when they lose that one bird. They're like, man, I think this is it. We've all said it. Just like, man, I think I'm done. Right. We always hop right back up on that horse. It's just like, what the hell's wrong with us?
Yeah, we're all,
dude, it's, and it's sometimes really no fault of our own, but ultimately it's always our fault, right? We put our birds in this position or that position, and, it resulted in a death. And, I just never take that well. I don't think that's anything I'll ever learn to accept, but I guess I'm stubborn enough to keep going, just like the rest of us, but there are a lot of ups in there too. It's just that desire to learn. I feel like
it's good.
You can do better, and in the name of pursuit of game, really.
Yeah. That's excellent. Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. I think Tyler Sladen said it the best. He did that, interview with whoever that was. he said it the best that, your falconry isn't my falconry isn't his falconry, or what, everybody's different in that aspect. Everybody's got their own sort of definition of it and what they do with it. And, I'm the asshole with the owls, I'm not, dude.
That's
so
what we'll call this episode, the asshole with the owls.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But
we won't. Don't
yeah,
worry.
but that's so true. Thanks. Yeah, no, it's all right, man. All of it.
I really would like to get out with you sometime.
Man, anytime, man. It's a lot of fun.
Aaron, I think we should get him at the Jersey meet.
Yeah, why don't you come up to the Jersey meet?
You need to come to the Jersey meet this year. We'll put more rabbits in front of your birds than you could know what to do with, allegedly.
Man, how many times that I've heard this every time. So, bro, come to my field. It's like
no. Aaron drives 7.5 hours from North Carolina to that meet. So
yeah,
do you really?
Yeah. It's loaded.
Yeah, Jersey though, man. Yeah, no, I know. So where are you guys hunting in Jersey? I really don't care about rabbits, by the way. I'm not a rabbit oriented guy. I got so burnt out on rabbit. My first red tail, I was almost over it. But yeah, I really like catching feather, but as far as my owls go, yeah, I just enjoy their flights so much. That's really the only thing that you can safely pursue. Unless they hit a freaking wall or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, it's the only time I really hunt rabbits. But yeah, no. Or you guys come to the Midwest, man, and I'll show you urban owl hawking, man.
I'd be into it. But then if we go out to Indiana, then we got to tell John we're coming, and then John's gonna want to come. And
he's not even really here half the time. I don't feel like, man. He's always like, he's a traveling nurse, right? So he's just like all over the place. Yeah. So I'm assuming John's been on this podcast multiple times.
Nice.
He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of the show.
Okay.
He definitely doesn't. He's not going to listen to this. He doesn't listen to anything we do. So.
Yeah. It doesn't excuse him unfriending you. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, what the hell is that, bro?
I'm not sure if that's a deal. I don't know. This Facebook stuff. It's hard to say. But,
well, when I looked you up, I saw that I had a friend request to you, but I don't know if it was like if I just did it. Or
man, I'm sitting here giving you my time now, dude. Damn,
it's all right.
Let's see. I'm gonna look it up. Who are you? You guys know a lot of. How long have you guys been in falconry?
Aaron just started like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I just wrapped up my apprenticeship.
He's like, dude, I just finished my apprenticeship. I know so much. I think we should start a podcast.
Typical apprentice stuff, right?
Yeah. Hey man, when I was man, we got 53 friends.
Yeah, bro. We should be friends.
That's wild.
No, Aaron's been a falconer for almost 8-9 years now?
Something like that. Yeah.
Wait, so you sent me the friend request. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Yeah, I did.
Or I sent you. Oh, you did.
I sent it to you.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and this guy's he's over here ignoring me. Too busy with his owls. Just ignoring my friend request.
I've been busy, bro.
No, I get it. I'm just joking.
All right, Adam, is there anything else you'd like to add? This is a good episode. We're approaching 3 hours.
This is 3 hours? You're kidding me.
Yeah, time flies when we're having fun.
Hey, I'm watching this lure machine on the phone.
Who's
with that Goss?
That Goss that flies in slow motion.
Yeah,
she's faster now, but she was super slow.
Guys, no, I don't really have anything.
Well, we appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing your insight. I think you're doing some interesting stuff out there.
Every falconer, though, man, they're doing something unique, man.
Not every falconer.
Yeah,
well, some people they're uniquely flying Harris hawks in parks.
When I became a falconer, man, an apprentice, I remember looking on YouTube or the internet, anything. I wanted to see videos of falconry. Dude, I think I found one video. It was like in the UK.
Yeah, it was like nothing back then. Yeah,
that was just 15 years ago, right? Dude, falconry has exploded, right? It really has. It used to be in the state. I knew every single falconer. Right? There's only 80 of us, and we'd all go to the meets, except for like one or two weirdos that were independent. They're like, antisocial, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. With the exception of those guys, you knew everybody. And I see people posting on our webpage all the time. It's like, who the hell is, this dude or that girl or what?
Yeah.
Who's Aaron Kincaid? What?
There's people everywhere now.
Yeah, no, man. There's so many. There's just so many. I think we're over 200 licensed falconers in Indiana now.
Wow.
But yeah, and that was
like too many to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have any game here, man. We're all overlapping each other's fields and shit. It's dumb. You need
a good rabbit dog, Aaron. I know you don't like Adam, but you don't like rabbit hawking, but the dog makes a huge difference.
Okay, sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, I know that's became a more and more common thing, man. I mean, I think that's awesome working a dog. Yeah, truly I do. But man, that's just a whole nother thing that I've got so many things that I've, invested blood and sweat in, dude. It's just, my dog doesn't pull any good work. She's not a bird dog or a rabbit dog she is really gamey, man. I know how to pick that up. She'll do it just fine. She'll accidentally kick this up or accidentally kick that up. I had all my quail get out a couple months ago, and I sent her off into the woods, and she got about 90% of my quail back, brought them to me live. Right.
Jeez, that's awesome.
And yeah, but with a game dog, you'll get your quail maybe, right? Yeah. But they're all dead.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not advocating, pets as game dogs, but where I'm at, I'm content. I'm content with it. I don't think I got the time for it. Really.
One thing I want to cover just real quick before we end is your business. You don't have to get too detailed, but you said you're in construction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is your general contractor or?
No, I used to GC some things. That was never really the focus point of the business that I run now. But we used to do, remodels, things of that nature, and then started dialing it in with the job opportunities here. I've taken the best parts of that, got rid of the weakest parts, and I started focusing on that, on the strongholds, and that's mostly the painting of it all. Here, I live in a unique community, right? It's a college town, got 100,000 college students, something like that, but they all move out at the exact same time every year.
You got to paint everything.
Everything, right? So yeah, we'll do about 1,000 of those a year, and
that's great.
We do all the generally related type of maintenance, like drywall, things like that. We don't get into the plumbing or electrical or remodels or any of that shit anymore. Right. Thank God. It's a headache. It's enough headache, man. Dude, yeah. I managed 30, 40 painters for 5 months out of the year. And, oh man, I'll tell you, I got to find another line of work soon, man. I've been doing this for 19 years, dude. Managing painters is, they're not painters because I wanted to be, right? These are like 30, 40-year-old dudes that you got to micromanage with personality problems. And, they'll throw down on you, dude, right?
Yeah. But there's money to be, it sounds like there's money to be made there, though.
Yeah, if you can stand it, But yeah, I figured out a niche here in my town, and yeah, we prospered to be, one of the largest companies in Bloomington, which is where I live. Just that we got a really unique market here that I capitalized when I was an undergrad here at the same university, IU. Yeah, I started this when I was a kid, 24. You make your first few $1,000, dude. You think you're Jay-Z and at a bar, Jaeger bombs on me, but you wise up over the years, and now you buy, $3,000 GOSHAWKS.
Yeah, but I only say that because there's a shortage in the trades, and I was just talking to some colleagues of mine today about it, and
sure,
getting into the trades, starting your own business, it really allows you to choose your own schedule. And I'm a plumber.
Oh, no doubt.
By trade, and I can kind of manage my own schedule, fly when I want, schedule my customers when I want, and
dude, that's exactly how I manage this business. I shut down shop this time of year. I may send 2-3 guys out in October. A handful of jobs, maybe. Right? I'm not running 40. It's time out. Right?
Yeah.
June, July, and August are
hitting
by
it.
far. Oh, dude, cracking it hard. You're getting 3-4 hours sleep. Your phone doesn't stop. It won't leave your hand for 3 months.
Yeah.
You got a truck down, or you got a schedule that's about to get overlapped and missed. You got to get somebody called in. They're not going to make it. This dude had 2 houses to do today. Now who the hell are you going to pull to do that?
Right.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. It's a juggle constantly. So after that, we're all exhausted, and I take 3, 4, 5 months off sometimes.
That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, and it's just fish and fly. That's it. So I literally engineered this business around my fishing, and falconry. Yeah,
yeah. And I don't know what the prices are out there, but you damn painters, you guys, what is it, like $1,000 a room now?
And every contractor will do their things a little differently.
They're charging $1,500 to paint one standard bedroom. A can of paint is like $50.
How much is a freaking bottle of primer and plumbing glue and 10 feet of PVC pipe?
Bro, I got 4 years of school under my belt. I got 7 years in business, 15 years in the trades, bro. $250 an hour. You don't like it? Okay, call somebody else. Bye.
That's what the plumbers are saying.
I'll go to the next one.
That's exactly what painters are saying, dude.
No, they're not. They're like, you got any meth?
You got any coke? Yeah.
What kind of beer you drink, bro? I'll be over at 1 o'clock. Yeah. But hey, you want to pick me up? I don't got a license.
Yeah.
No, there are. I have some really good, highly skilled, unionized painters and things, but they don't really fit this niche, man. We do a lot of new construction where you need your specialty guys. Not really your specialty guys. You need your new construction guys.
You need spacklers. Spacklers are like magicians.
Yeah, well, your drywallers and things. So I don't have drywallers anymore. Yeah, drywallers and painters they hate each other. Right?
Yeah,
I was like, you guys, they do. I've literally had to break up fights, and man, it's nuts. But I've learned a lot. I learned what I don't want to do the rest of my life, but I don't know what else to do to compensate for that income and leisure time.
Right.
I went to business school. I was at IU for 7 years. Were you in business school? Is that what you said?
No, I went to in every state in the country, you got to go to school for 4 years to be a licensed master plumber now. So
okay.
So I did a little college and then went to trade school and the 900.
Not a painter.
Not a painter.
No. Yeah. I was literally hiring. One time I stopped. I was coming. I was really shy of resources. I think I fled to Walmart to get something, or I see a dude holding a sign, right? That skilled tradesmen will work for food. Basically, I literally wrote down. His name was Mike. He got in the truck. I rolled down the window. I was like, dude, can you paint? He's like, yeah. I'm like, get in, man. I'm so desperate. Right? I'm so desperate. I've got guys that are just exhausted. He's like, the dude looks at me with a sign in his hand, begging for money. He's like, what do you pay an hour? I was like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
What's it matter? You got a cardboard sign in your dude. 2 Doritos an hour. Get in the freaking truck, right? Like, dude, I was like, what? I don't know, 20, 25, fine. And he's like, I make that standing right here. I'm like, 30, son of a bitch. Get in the truck, right? And I actually got to talk to him and get to know him. He worked for me all summer that summer. That dude hitchhiked from Bedford, which is about, 35 minutes south of me. Hitchhiked to that Walmart every freaking day. And he hitchhiked to work. every single day. He always made it to work, man.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then one day he just fell off the map, man. I don't know if he got hit by a car or,
hitchhiked
I
in the
don't know.
wrong car. And
yeah, man. I'm telling
got
dude.
picked up by the wrong guy. Got picked up by John Munnier.
Exactly.
Yeah. He got picked up by a plumber.
Got picked by a plumber. Ended up in a crawl space somewhere.
Yeah. Who knows, man? But no, it's been tricky, man. I am over it though. But
no, I think every tradesman's over it. But I'm just saying, if in terms of falconry and flying, that's why I bring it up. Is it opens up doors to make good money, and curtail your schedule to fly.
Man, it's sort of like golf, right? That's the only thing I've noticed. I don't think you can make money in falconry. Maybe there's a couple exceptions that I know of, right? But
I know
would
a friend
love to.
that has good.
Yeah. But I mean, are they killing it? Right?
I mean, we were just flying around his $7,000 thermal drone this evening, right before the show. I'm like, what's the purpose of buying this? He's like, I don't know, just wanted it.
Dude, I had a thermal. I had a DJI with flying on a FLIR thermal. I was drinking at the local bar down there. Dude, I wrecked it, man. I was in the parking lot. Yeah, man, it was after shut down. It's like, dude, you got a drone. I'm like, yeah. Let's see how fast it goes. They was like, how high does it go? I was like, I have no idea. Right. And man, it caught a wind. It was like 2 miles away.
Oh, no.
It did not have enough juice. Yeah, I lost the thermal on. I recovered the drone, but I lost the FLIR. But I literally got that so I could fly and find the rabbits.
Find the rabbits, yeah. Allegedly.
Never even got to use it for that, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, sad story. But yeah, I mean, shit. Any kind of write off, you can get yourself that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like killing it. No, I'm talking about a new 350 in the driveway. I don't have one, but I don't know. You're really making a good living with falconry. It'd be hard.
It'd be hard. You got to do shows and presentations and weddings and all kind. You got to really be hustling. No, I don't want to do any of that. I mean, my buddy does abatement. I mean, he's got a multi six figure contract with the city down at the beach, and he's there from March till October, and then he's done. It's just
one of those two
quail and labor. We're
just getting rid of pigeons on city buses.
Yeah, seagulls is his gig. Yeah, good money.
Yeah, I don't know. I just found it more lucrative doing what I'm doing.
Same, man.
But it'd be a hard way to make a living. It'd be fun, But yeah, and more power to them if you figure out that way. Yeah, that's all of our dreams, right? Is to make a good living doing what we love to do, but. It's hard. You guys are getting there, though. I mean, doing your podcast and stuff, talking about it.
Yeah, we're
more than I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's blowing up. It's doing good. We're doing good. Aaron's up to date on that stuff.
We're getting ready to retire.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, we've made enough,
especially after this one.
Yeah.
This one's gonna be huge.
This was number 3. I kept getting up before.
Good for you. I ran out.
Oh, damn it. Oh,
all good.
Well, yeah, guys.
So you want people to find you? Do you want people to look you up and find you? Because some of our guests, they don't really want to be found.
Oh man, I don't care either way. Just like you found out from the friend request, dude. I'm still slacking on that stuff. Man. But I'm not really promoting the owl thing at all. I mean, but I do find a lot of people reach out and ask, but I put a lot of what I know out there, and it seems to have worked for people. And just like you've heard about the castings and things, I've never heard about those things before. I just had to figure all that shit out, and but yeah, I know a lot of people have a lot more failure experience than having experience of something. It's a lot of fun and they enjoy to do, find a great horn. I really did. I still do. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
But as far as promoting that, I don't know. Probably not.
I think you should. I think you should, for the simple fact that people are fascinated in that, and not a lot of people do it. And the people that do it are like yourself, and they don't really do too much talking and posting about it, but it's very fascinating. And a lot of people just say it can't be done, and obviously it can be done. And I know people that have got it done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that have flown great horns. You know, that Tyler guy.
The kid in
Tyler Wright
down South Carolina. Where is he, Aaron? That's Aaron's best. That's Aaron's best friend.
Yeah,
they're boys.
So I mean,
he was catching squirrels. I saw a couple of videos of him catching a squirrel.
He's a squirrel hawking. Yeah, SOB, man. I do love throwing squirrel. I've only caught one squirrel with my great horn, but I only tried once too. He was just on a wood pile outside, and I was like, let's give it a shot. Smoked it.
Wow, that's awesome.
But I don't really care for. I don't know. The reason why I got that bird these birds is to fly at night. You know. Yeah, otherwise you just throw any other bird on them, you know.
Right.
But you guys, thanks for having me. And
good stuff, man. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
You guys should fish more.